documentary with Lori. She's director of Fort Wayne Trails. I hope you don't mind being in it.
Yes!
It's all about nature and beauty, and you want to say what you're doing or how often you come out here on the boat?
Well, we are going to my first time. This will be her first time. This is my about 8th time. And I love it. I just love being in the open and free. It's a blast. I would highly recommend it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Lori Rose, and I'm the executive director at Fort Wayne Trails, the non-for-profit organization. I said that her perspective brings a sacred aspect to nature. The fact that she was able to, she was someone who saw the good in people, she saw the good in everything that she did, and just being able to look out into the world and realize how much nature brings to us and not take that for granted, that can add really a lot of meaning to our lives. The trails really, the crux of the trails is connection, and it's connection back to ourselves, connection to our fellow neighbors, connection to the place that we live. And it's something that we got away from it over time. If we look at the way that cities developed, originally communities were small, they were walk friendly. The customary thing to do in a neighborhood was to sit on the porch and take strolls and greet neighbors. And originally the automobile was meant to make our lives easier and get more places more connected, but we then built the environment to actually disconnect ourselves. We wanted to escape the city, but we ended up isolating ourselves. And the suburban sprawl that happened right here in Fort Wayne created whole swaths of the community that are completely isolated from even interacting with people day to day. Everything from the way the garage was put, attached on the front of the house so that you don't have a front porch. You can get in the car in the garage, go about your day, maybe drive to the gym, get on a treadmill, get back in the car, go home, and not really have had a human interaction with another single person. The trails take that and really remedy it, because they're a space that is safe. They provide beauty. They provide a place where we feel comfortable, not only just with the aesthetics, but with the user-friendliness to move about. We feel like they're a space where we slow down, we see things at a human scale. And I've actually done studies and taken some data on people's tendency to greet one another on a trail versus in other scenarios. And what I found was over 80% of people on a trail, when they enter each other's space, they tend to give a greeting because you feel like you're sharing something. You have some sort of commonality. Whereas if you're just, on a street and you enter someone's space, we tend to maybe, that's where we look down or use the phone as a crutch or something. So the trails offer so many aspects of connection, and what we're doing with Fort Wayne Trails is encouraging people to get back out and, connect for their own well-being with themselves and their own purpose, and also see people again, all different kinds of people. That's really something that will carry our society forward if we get used to seeing all different types of people, working with all different types of people, solving problems together. The benefits really are endless. It's we kind of consider the trails as a Swiss Army knife when we look at societal issues. It's essential for just basic safety, that we believe everyone has the right to be mobile, to access destinations, to safely walk or ride. So trails, a phrase that's used a lot is 8 to 80, so children to those who are elderly and beyond that.
Beyond, yeah.
Because not everyone has access to a car, not everyone has the physical ability to drive a car, and not everyone is of an age where they can drive a car, and those people still deserve to have their independence, their freedom, places where they can be out and be creative and see other people. So it's a very basic human right, actually, to be able to have accessibility and mobility. The trails are also used for transportation, going all the way back to the rivers and how they were used to transport goods. The trails are used by a lot of people now to get to school, to get to work, and they're a way to do those things that feeds our well-being at the same time. And that leads into another benefit, which is health and wellness. And of course, it's not just physical well-being and disease prevention, but mental well-being as well. I've seen presentations where we talk about depression, and especially amongst children and teens. And when you look at living in an isolated beige subdivision where you can't get anywhere, it's depressing. We need discovery. We need nature.
How long have you been with Fort Wayne Trails?
I moved to Fort Wayne about 9 years ago to take the position as director of one of our predecessor nonprofit organizations. And then in 2011, we had 3 grassroots trails organizations that merged to form Fort Wayne Trails. So now we have a mission of throughout Allen County, and we're looking at connecting with surrounding communities as well, being a partner and an advocate to keep connecting people to each other and to nature and many destinations through expanding the trail network.
And before we move to one of your trails, not yours personally, but since you're the director, I'll say your trail. You talked about the history of the river, and another connection to the river is the Miami Indians and the other Native American tribes who lived here. And as I've said, I'm now working with the city and you and other people to bring a festival here in a spot like this on the river called Kikianga Festival. It's the original name of Fort Wayne, or Miami Fest, whatever the name is. And to me, that's a connection too, because we need to know what happened in the past to make sense of now and to make a better future, which to me is what you've been saying a lot better than I just said it. But and so it's that connection again. And as I stand here listening to birds and looking at the river, the one thing that's constant, if the Miami Indians came back today, they'd go, what the, in terms of downtown, the suburbs, but boy, the river.
Yeah.
That maybe is dirtier, and we're trying to remedy that, but still, it's the same river for centuries. That has not changed. And that's the sort of connection that ties us all together. So with that, let's move over to a trail.
Okay.
Thank you. Again, talking to Lori Rose, director of Fort Wayne Trails.
There is something about connecting in the outdoors, in nature, on a trail that I think it creates a lot of authenticity in our lives. We, like you said, we can connect on social media or texting or something like that, but when we get to look in the eyes of another person, there's something really real about that connection that we form. And sometimes we even realize things like, we're so used to always having the phone in hand, always being able to answer that text message. But I don't know if you've ever noticed, sometimes if you forget your phone or don't take your phone and you're out for a walk or something like that, sometimes you feel even more connected because you can be fully present to your surroundings. So that's another gift that the trails give us, is that of presence, and even taking the time to notice things as simple as our breath. And I'm taking one step forward at a time, kind of, and how does that play out in our lives, to keep taking one step at a time, to keep seeing the people that we walk past. I live by a foster park, and in a given jog or something, I will see communities of people who are Burmese coming together and celebrating their culture. I'll see families from all different backgrounds, out together. I'll see children learning to bike. I'll see couples walking on the trail and having quality time together. People of all ages, and that really brings a vitality to our community that I'm not going to find on the computer. Yeah, it's like it creates the physical space that fosters connection. So if you're sitting in an office or amongst cubicles or in a classroom that's a bunch of computers, what do? You're drawn to that screen. It's an addictive process almost. Whereas if we just take the initiative to get ourselves out on something like a trail, it's natural to start connecting with other human beings and nature and animals around us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 1 Billion Rising is it's a global movement that started in 2013, and the goal was to end violence and abuse against women and girls worldwide. The number 1 billion came from statistically 1 in 3 women or girls will be raped or beaten in their lifetime, and so you extrapolate that to any kind of violence or abuse. And I brought that event to Fort Wayne in 2013 to raise awareness and create energy and activism around ending violence and abuse against anybody. Currently I teach salsa dance, I teach Zumba, and I used to teach ballroom, so I still do that on the side, whether it's private lessons or choreography for wedding couples. I've really grown to realize I believe we each have unique gifts that only we have, and it's kind of our job here on this earth to grow into that and use our gifts, not only so that we make the most of our lives, but also so we contribute to the healing of the world. And so that's kind of the central premise to everything I do, is helping people to be the most of who they are. And that's what I do with educating people about healthy relationships, and using dance as one of the tools to do that, because no matter how great of Franklin planner goals or anything that we have, if we don't have healthy relationships that support us in being the most of who we are, then we're essentially suppressed. We're diminished in the world. That's a big part of what I teach, is healthy relationships, beginning with the way that we treat ourselves, and then surrounding ourselves with connections that nurture us and free us to be the most of who we are. And then the trails are kind of a physical extension of that, because movement, trails or dancing, it's physically connecting with other people in a way that is safe and healthy, and that ties us into something bigger.
Again, beautifully stated. What are your plans with Fort Wayne Trails? I know you have a big plan with extending trails from Fort Wayne to other counties, Allen County, other counties.
Yeah, we really have a regional vision with Fort Wayne Trails for Northeast Indiana. It's interesting to look at how the trails started in Fort Wayne. They were very much ground up, and literally groups of neighbors who preserved space along the river and created the River Greenway. Then there were groups in Southwest and Northwest Allen County that started to create trail networks in their areas. When we built the Towpath Trail in 2010, it laid the groundwork for a regional network that really started to tie communities together, downtown, schools, employers, different neighborhoods, different parts of the city. And we have a pretty good east-west connection now from New Haven to downtown to the southwest part of Allen County. So our next charge is we're looking at the north-south connection, and there's a corridor called the Pufferbelly in Allen County, and the word Pufferbelly is the historic name for a steam locomotive, and the Puffer connect 5 counties in Northeast Indiana. So we're working together with all of those counties, and we can connect from Pokagon State Park up in Angola down to Wabash State Park in Bluffton, and then even down to Decatur and into Adams County.
Fabulous.
I just think, and well, something that I have seen a lot of in Fort Wayne, just being a part of the community, living here, working with the trails, it's really, I really admire and honor the people here. They have showed me how people can come together, step up, whether it's through volunteer activities, through community activism, but it's individual people can make such a big difference. We can empower each other. We can come together around common goals and really take a stand for projects and concepts that help improve lives, like the trails, like the rivers, like historic preservation and nature. And it's really, I've learned so much here from the people of Fort Wayne about following my own passions, connecting with other people in the community, embodying our gifts, and just really getting out there, not hiding, like we were saying, really getting out there and living. And I just really have seen the potential for making the most of our lives here. And it was something I didn't expect to get out of this little city, and it's been such a gift. So I just really have a lot of gratitude for the people of Fort Wayne.
Lori, you have just been a delight.
Thank
really,
you.
today.